Oh, mic.
Yep, mic's on. All right, good morning, everybody. We are in the shop. Basically, this is going to be day one of our Raptor build, which you can see behind me. And essentially, the first thing we're going to try and knock out here is that Corsa exhaust kit that we want to throw on. We're going to see if we can get that put together. We've technically got 2 other exhaust kits lined up for some other builds that we wanted to do as well. So today might be kind of a busy day of exhaust, but we're going to jump right into it and see what we get. Now, one other thing I want to point out is this video we're making right now is going to be kind of just a general overall feel for the day, so you can see what parts we're throwing on and what we're doing to this truck, and just kind of a day in the shop. But this is not going to be like a super in-depth install with all the details. That being said, Dylan, who's right now putting some pull jacks together for us, is still going to be shooting a real install video with all the details on getting this kit put on the truck and everything that goes with that. So if you are looking for the specific details on how to put this kit on your truck, we will have a separate video for you. So let me show you guys exactly what exhaust we're working with here. We went ahead and picked up this Corsa system, and this is a Corsa 3-inch kit in black. Basically the black is just referring to the tips, which have this really nice kind of mirror finish to them, and they're dual walled so they won't discolor or do anything funky. But basically it's all 304 stainless steel, really nice mandrel bent tubing. Hangers are already welded on. Obviously it comes with the clamps and anti-seize and stuff as well to get it installed. And it is a resonator back kit instead of just a straight up cat back, and basically that's just going to help manage the tone a little bit more. It keeps it from getting super loud or super raspy, but it'll still sound good, and it'll definitely open it up a bit more from factory, which is really nice. Alright, under the truck now, as you can see, there is no exhaust here, which is because we popped off that factory one, and we've got it laying out on the ground now. So, fine as far as factory exhausts go, but it's going to be nice to upgrade from this to that Corsa kit. Alright, now you can get a better idea of how this lines up. That's the factory resonator, that's the little adapter pipe, muffler, over axle, and then tip going out the back. So you can see we got it lined up under the truck here. Make sure that everything is where it needs to be, and then we can start bolting this up to the top and getting it put together. So I'm sweating a bit, but we're done. We got this thing all mounted up. You can see the tips popping out right here. Looks really nice, and I'll bring you guys underneath so you can check this out. But the fitment on this is really clean. There's lots of room for the spare, and then it doesn't impact where the spring is, so this can actually articulate without hitting the pipe. Then back here we've got the muffler. It's all lined up, uses the factory hangers which fit perfectly, and then obviously we kept the stock resonator. It's a really nice looking kit. Having installed it personally, I think it went really well, and it's not a super difficult kit to install, so anybody with a Raptor looking for an upgrade, I think this is going to be solid. We're going to go ahead, bring it down off the lift, run it a bit, you know, see what it sounds like, and then we're going to spend some time probably actually kind of testing the kit when we drive this truck around and get a feel for how it really sounds and what it's like day to day. But I've got high hopes for it. With everything done though, it's gonna be time to pack up and head out here pretty quick. We're closing up shop. We'll come back tomorrow, keep working on this thing. We've got an S&B intake I want to go ahead and throw in there, and then we also had some other stuff to do on the side since I'm also a photographer and graphic designer. There's always things taking up my time that aren't just this truck, but we will see you guys tomorrow. Okay guys, we are back. Good morning everybody. It is day 2 now, so we kind of went up right to the end of the day yesterday getting the exhaust installed, but everything's buttoned up, so we're gonna have Bill hop in right now and actually fire it up and just kind of rip on it for a second so we can see what it sounds like, and it should sound really good. I mean, the 6.2 is already pretty decent from factory, and it's a V8, but let's see what we get here. Yeah, it sounds pretty decent. It's not like mind-blowingly loud, which is a good thing. So it's not gonna, you know, upset the neighbors or cause problems, but it does sound really throaty and solid. All right, so I know that was really only a brief clip, but I'm gonna try and take you guys out later today and actually run the truck a little bit more outside and give you kind of just a first reaction of how the thing sounds on the road, but we'll get around to that. Next, I really wanna get into getting this intake installed, and also we have a little pedal commander device that we're gonna try and throw in, so that way we can work a little bit more power out of the truck and just make it a touch more sporty than it already is. So got the S&B right here. We're gonna go ahead and lay this thing out on the bench. I'll show you guys kind of what parts we're working with, and same with the exhaust install. We're gonna just kind of run through it briefly here, but we will have an actual official install video for you guys coming out later if you want all the details on that. So this is S&B's kit. It's pretty standard for all the 6.2s. They basically offer two options where you either get this dry filter or a oiled reusable filter. Both are higher flowing, and basically what you get with the kit is the new top end of the box. This is the little adapter that goes into the fender for fresh air coming in, the new piping as well, and then of course all of your hardware and instructions and some stickers and things like that. So this is going to replace what we've got going on in here. And it actually gets rid of this huge resonator box off the top of the engine, which cleans up the look a little bit. And then of course the pipe in the top end that you're seeing here. Well, now that we got all the details out of the way, let's get this thing installed. All right, well, we're about halfway through now, so you can see we've gotten most of the stock intake stuff removed. There's a few little things we need to change, but just had to take a break for a second and tend to some of the website stuff and some other photo things, but we're gonna jump right back into it. And the intake install is done. So show you what we've got going on here. As you can see, it removed that resonator box, like I said before. It looks really clean in here. They give you some extended hoses and an extension for the airflow sensor because it actually moves it back into this pipe. You can kind of see around the backside there. And then obviously we have the new filter box up top with our dry cone filter in there. So looks good. I'm really happy with it. It's not super difficult to install, and it sounds pretty decent. We fired it up real quick here in the shop for a minute and kind of recorded some sound with it, but I think once we get this little pedal commander thing installed, we're gonna roll this truck out in the parking lot and kind of go through everything that we installed and see how it sounds and how it feels, get some first impressions. But with that being said, let's walk over to the bench real quick and I'll show you guys this pedal commander. Okay, so let me show you guys what we've got here. There's our box, pedal commander, pop this thing open. There's a little cover on the top, and here is the device itself. So it literally is just like a simple kind of 2-plug deal. The controller itself has some buttons on it, and these are like actual clickable, nice pressable buttons. And then there's a clip to mount it with. They give you this little cleaning pad, as well as some zip ties for the cables. And then it looks like we've got the Velcro here to attach it, and of course a little pedal commander sticker. So it's really not a complicated kit, and this should be pretty quick to install overall. You can essentially kind of stick this wherever you want, or you could even hide it behind the dash if you didn't want to have to look at it, or just only pull it out to make adjustments. So we're doing this on the Raptor, but you could get ones for like the 17 truck that's behind me, or, you know, honestly, they make them for any Ford vehicle you can think of. There's probably an option for one of these. The install is going to be relatively the same on any of those. So let's get to it. I think it's time to take the truck out of the shop and give this thing a test. All right, I just rolled the truck out front here. We're gonna hop in, set some cameras up real quick, and I'm gonna give you guys some first impressions on how everything feels with that new intake, the new exhaust, pedal commander, all that. So let's go for a drive. I went ahead and ticked that pedal commander up to Sport Plus, which is the raciest option that it has, or like most responsive. And it's actually a little bit difficult to drive in parking lots. It's so responsive. So like just barely touching the throttle, it immediately starts trying to pull, which is great when you want it, but it is a good thing that it's adjustable. So I went ahead and ticked it back down to sport now, and like I mentioned earlier, you can kind of make minor adjustments within that to get it a little more or less responsive within each mode, but I think sport is going to be a comfortable one to run with for a minute, just to kind of feel the truck out and get a sense of what this thing really does. Right now I'm sort of just cruising through some of the neighborhoods that are near our shop, and I'd say with the full package here of doing the intake, the exhaust, and the pedal commander, the truck feels really good. It definitely feels like we've made some improvements. There's a little bit of intake sound when I get on the throttle, as well as definitely a more noticeable exhaust note, but I can say that like just sitting outside the truck or letting this thing idle, it almost sounds stock at idle. There's really not a lot of increase in sound when it's just sitting there, and on a cold start is definitely a bit louder, but it's very friendly as far as running something that you don't want to wake up your neighbors or just be annoying every time you start it. And that doesn't really come at the expense of losing the sound when you get on the throttle. I really like the tone. It definitely brings out the better side of the 6.2. This S&B intake seems to be pretty solid as well. I mean, honestly, when you put a cold air intake in any vehicle, it's not going to be a massive power adder, and I think most of us already know that, but usually it does help a little bit with that throttle response, and getting the improved airflow is definitely a benefit as well. The other cool thing, as I've mentioned a few times with installing it and all that, is that it does open up the sound a bit and gets rid of that silly box on top of the engine. So I do like that you can hear a little bit more suction kind of coming through, and it gives the engine a little bit better tone. Feels a little bit more alive when you're driving around, and that's definitely welcome because the truck is almost a little too quiet from factory. Overall, this truck's feeling really good. I mean, these first few mods are just some kind of quick and easy engine and power upgrades, but I think we're already really moving in the right direction with this truck, and I'm happy with what's going on. So I know this is a little bit different style video than we've done before in the past, and I would love it if you guys would leave some comments and let me know what you think, or if there's some things you'd like to see in future shop videos or more stuff behind the scenes, and we'll try to make that work. But I just want to get some of your feedback. And we're going to have this truck back in the shop pretty shortly for some other bed accessories and upgrades on the rear end. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys next time.